Hello and welcome to the magic of fishing. Today you join me in a shed.
Wait, it's not just a shed, it's the pleasuring shed.
Sorry, the pleasuring shed. This is Andy, and he is a fellow YouTuber and angler, and we connected thanks to our passion in the last week or two. And Andy was good enough to come around to my house, in fact, and deliver some of his amazing handmade floats, which he is famous for, in my mind.
Infamous, maybe.
Infamous. But we thought, we're two YouTubers starting out on an epic journey of fame and fortune, and we both love what we do. And we thought it'd be a great idea to get together. We only live half an hour away from each other. It was easy to get here after work, and it's an absolute honour to be in your shed with all these amazing creations that I've only up until now seen a handful of. So, Andy, tell the viewers a bit about yourself and your channel.
So, our channel is Black Bottom Floats, or the making of Black Bottom Floats. And what I try and do is show the viewers the techniques that I use to make my floats. And again, I've said this on all my videos, there are thousands of float makers out there that all have their own little take on how to do things. I'm just showing them my way. And I make the floats and show them all the materials that I use, the techniques that I use, and then we try and go and catch a fish with them. That's the general kind of gist of things. Yeah, it's growing. It's been really, I've had some really lovely comments, which is nice, when people leave comments and they're positive, and yeah, that's really lovely. It's humbling.
It means so much,
Yeah,
doesn't
definitely.
it really does. I mean, I've been going less than a year, but a bit longer than you, and it's become a hobby. Not as important as fishing itself, but it's something that I really look forward to at weekends when I've not got the kids on a Sunday. That's when I tend to do mine, or now we're getting into spring and summer, maybe the odd evening. But it's something you can get really excited about because people are engaging with it and,
Yeah, yeah,
and taking an
definitely.
interest in what you're doing.
Yep.
And you're just a normal bloke going about something you love, and
Yeah.
suddenly you've got people encouraging you and
Yeah, yeah.
taking an interest. That's
What's
what's
yeah, what's also really
special.
really nice is I've had messages on Instagram of people showing me photographs of the floats that they've made inspired by floats they've seen on my channel, or
Yeah,
and that's just brilliant, because that for me, that's exactly what the channel is about. It's about inspiring people to go and make their own floats,
to have a
not
go.
just sitting there watching me make my floats, but to go and have a go at making their own.
Yeah,
And there's nothing more satisfying than catching a fish on your own float. I guess it's a bit like fly tying. My clock's going to ding.
if you've watched his videos, this is quite famous.
Yeah, yeah, it's a bit like the fly tying. Catching a fish on your own tied fly. And that, I don't tie flies. That's a whole nother level. But yeah, the reward is the same. It's very satisfying.
I can only imagine. I mean, I get a thrill if I catch something on a bait I've created, or a
Yeah,
ground bait mix I've come up with,
yeah,
or a rig that I've formulated. But to create something from scratch, from basic materials, that is a miniature piece of art,
yeah, yeah,
and then go and do another thing that you love doing, catching a fish. I really enjoyed
yeah.
using one of Andy's floats in one of my recent videos. You may have seen. I'll put the link below if not. But a couple of tench, I think 3 tench in a
Very
short evening
nice. Yeah,
session,
very nice
a
tench.
bream, a skimmer, and just to watch that hand painted tip next to some pads. I like my modern gear. I'm always clear about that on the channel as much as the next
Mm.
modern angler. I fish matches in the summer months. I've got my carbon poles, my expensive seat box up in Sheffield, but down here in Surrey, where I live most of the time, I've taken my fishing back to basics a
Yeah,
bit more
yeah,
because I don't have time to get a whole barrow load of gear down to a river on a
yeah,
weekend. And that's really, given my fishing a new lease of life,
yeah, yeah,
and allowed me to do much more of it. And using a handmade float really just took me back to my childhood, and my granddad's box of fishing floats with its porcupine
yeah,
quills and hand painted odds and
yeah,
sods
yeah,
he'd
yeah,
picked up throughout his angling career.
yeah.
Really, there was something just childish and wonderful about it, to be
I
honest.
think that's you and I differ in the sense that you've got that match fishing background. So you will dot your floats down with 3 number 10 droppers, and me, I'm 2 BB and a number 4. You know,
It felt a bit
yeah,
it felt a bit sacrilegious to dot that float down. Actually, yeah, I
yeah,
wanted to see the tip
yeah,
because
yeah.
it's just
But I think
perfectly
my
painted.
style of fishing is way more your amateur basic. I haven't got that match fishing background. My fishing background is really quite limited.
Yeah,
I haven't been fishing for all that long. I fished a lot as a kid. Then I had about a 25-year break and came back to fishing when my son asked me to take him fishing because we were clearing out the loft and found all my old fishing rods and reels and stuff.
yeah,
So he nagged me into going fishing. But so my style of fishing is still kind of what I did as a kid, and
yeah.
I would put, if I'm using a waggler, it will be a BB locking shot either side, maybe one more BB down the line, and then it will be a smaller shot like a number 4 or a number. I think number 6 is probably the smallest I go.
We'll have to spend some time on the bank at some point as well.
Definitely, but maybe we'll do the both tactics and see who
Yeah,
catches the most.
that's a great idea. Actually, does finesse and refined tackle and rigs bring you the extra bites? I'd like to think it does, of course,
Of
but
course,
the old
and
stuff can be.
so would the big manufacturers.
Are you calling me a tackle tart?
No, maybe.
Oh dear. Yeah. Well, you know what? I think shameless plug for the book. That's what inspired me. That's what inspired me to start the YouTube channel.
Yeah.
Was the fact that 3 years ago a dream came true, which was a book I'd been working on in my spare time for 8 years.
Mm.
Finally got finished because I lost my job. I was redundant. Didn't have anything to do during the early months of the lockdown. Finally finished it off. Nagged a lot of publishers. It's not easy getting published, and finally got that book out thanks to a small Yorkshire-based publisher, and it's done okay. And I really wanted to keep it alive. I didn't want it to be something that just appeared and then disappeared and was found in car boot sales 10 years later.
And if I'm honest, I found your channel because I remembered the title of the book. I read your book about a year ago.
That's great.
It must have been fairly new out, I guess. But yeah, I picked it up on Kindle, and when I was flicking through YouTube, I came across The Magic of Fishing. I thought, oh, I wonder if that's the guy that wrote the book, and it was. So yeah,
I was almost worried about disappointing people, to be honest, because the book is very sentimental. It's very nostalgic.
Great. It is lovely.
It's really, there are chapters about growing up and becoming an adult and dealing with the realities of life, death.
But also some of the chapters you've got in there about your early match fishing with your local angling club. It's so I can't think of the word I want to use, but I can almost smell the cigarette smoke on the coach and the smell of that
gallons of maggots in the backseat.
Yeah, exactly. It was very, I can't think of the word. It provoked a lot of images and a lot of memories. And,
that's nice to hear. And I was worried that with a YouTube channel, me being a clumsy amateur and learning as I went and trying to catch fish at the same time as filming is bloody difficult. Massive respect to all YouTubers who catch fish.
I'm really lucky. I've got a camera operator, so Ali's amazing. So thank you, Ali.
Ali behind the camera. Lovely to meet her. But it's a one-man band. It's tricky, and massive respect to everyone who does it. And again, a lot of love, I think, from both of us for people who tune in, subscribe, bother to give it a like, leave a nice comment. I think one of the best comments I ever got was someone saying, "Thanks for taking the time to do this." And I thought, damn right, it's a whole Sunday setting up for fishing, filming, and then maybe 2 evenings editing on top of work and family. But the payback you get, as we were saying, is massive.
Yeah, I've had some lovely comments. But yeah, and like you say, some comments where people have said, "Thank you for doing that. Thank you for showing me. Thank you for going into so much detail." And yeah, that's really, really humbling. So it's nice to know.
So both very different but very interesting entries into it, really. You with your wanting to share your skills with other people and inspire them, and me wanting to, I guess, not promote the book, but just prolong its life somehow and try to show people the kind of fishing that I rediscovered. 5 or 6 years ago, because that's ultimately what I mean by the magic of fishing. I, like you, had a break where I was still fishing, but I'd perhaps got a bit obsessed by tackle, and I'd got so much to go carp fishing, to go match fishing, to go specimen hunting, whatever it might be, that I often couldn't face the preparation required to go, or it took too long, and I was working like a bugger. And there was a period where I lost a lot. I fell out. I didn't fall out of love, but I forgot how magic it is. And it was only by going back to basics as an older man, getting out there and trying to catch whatever swims, that whoosh, the magic came back.
I've never gone out and targeted a fish ever, or a species of fish. Targeted fish generally, but not a species.
And there's nothing wrong with people that do. No. I'm always clear about that. I think I've got massive respect to the top match men and women in this country. Team England for me is the pinnacle. And, the guys that win on commercials, that have perfected that, take my hat off to them. But equally, I think there's still a lot of anglers out there. It's still one of the most popular sports in this country.
Definitely.
To take part in. Still going on 1 million annual license sales. And there's a big chunk of those people who do want to just keep it simple and enjoy the time on the bank, the pleasure, the so-called pleasure fishing.
Pleasure fishing, and that's what I am. Pleasure fishing. I take my dad when I can. He loves it. Just sitting on the bank with a rod in his hand, fishing for whatever he can catch. And if he gets a good scrap off a carp, he's in his element. I mean, he's in his 80s now, and still he's out there doing it. And that's just what it's all about, isn't it? It's just seeing the smile on his face.
I don't mean this in a jealous way. A nasty way, but I'm jealous of that relationship. You know how close I was to my granddad up in Sheffield, who taught me to fish. It skipped a generation, and my dad's still going, and we have a great relationship, do loads of stuff together whenever I'm up there. But he never got into fishing. And for you to still be going with your dad, amazing.
Special.
Very special. Yeah.
But, you've got to appreciate the things that you do with your dad. It's different things, but
completely.
It's still the same.
Fishing's not the be all and end all, but it is a way of life to me. It's more than a hobby. It's an obsession.
Yeah. When I got back into fishing after my son kind of got me back into it, I never thought it would be going the way it's going. I thought I'll be going out the odd Saturday, a couple of Saturdays a month, for down the canal or whatever. But now I've discovered that there are clubs and memberships, and there's lakes you can fish that I didn't even know existed, whether that be day ticket waters and I've learned so much from other YouTube channels as well. To be honest, most of the techniques I use on my floats, I've watched other YouTubers making floats.
It's an amazing resource, isn't it?
It's incredible.
I mean, I'm still a loyal subscriber to Angling Times. I was to the Mail till it sadly folded. And, I love written words in books as much as YouTube. But certainly, if you want to remember how to tie a certain knot, or look up a rig for a certain species, whatever it might be, or just get your entertainment in terms of, and that's what I've admired about your early videos, is you're not only showing people how to do something in a very accessible way, but it's entertaining, and
thank you.
Your passion comes through.
Thank you. Yeah, and it is a passion. It's turned into a passion. I never thought it would develop as it has, but it's gone mad. And I've got to be completely honest myself and say that the YouTube channel was partly to help sales, because I do sell them on eBay, link in the description, hopefully. I do sell them on eBay, and it's not a business, it's a hobby. It allows me, it pays for my fishing essentially. I don't make a massive amount of money off the float sales. I certainly wouldn't if I put the price of the floats relative to the amount of labor that goes into them. But the small amount of money that I do make off them, it pays for my fishing. It pays for that pint of maggots and the bag of ground bait.
Going up as fast as beer. Always. But I'd love you to give us a quick tour in a while, once we've finished having a chat, because it is like walking into something from a time warp, and I mean that in a really good way.
Someone likened me the other day to Jack Hargreaves. I don't know if you remember him.
Actual live insects in various stages of their life history. And that's what it was right up to the war. But after the war, in order to extend fly fishing to
You know
more...
what?
Pipe and his
I
and his
barely
beard.
remember Jack Hargreaves, but someone has said that about me as well. Someone said Jack Hargreaves to the modern era or
Yeah,
something like that. And
yeah.
I wasn't sure whether that was a
No, I
good
think it's a
thing.
compliment.
I think it's a
yeah,
compliment.
I think it's a compliment, definitely. All I need now is a pipe and a hat,
Yeah.
and then I'm away. So.
The other classic would be Coughing Bob Fleming.
Bob Fleming, yeah,
from
exactly.
the Fast Show, if anyone remembers that.
Hello there, Bob Fleming here, and today we'll be looking at fishing tackle. Excuse me. Now, where would your fly fisherman be, excuse me, without his...
that was a real, it was a real take on this kind of stuff, wasn't it? You know, two middle-aged men with their obsession, but you know, I think we're sharing this obsession with a whole multitude of people out there across the world as well, not just in the UK. It's a global sport. You know, I've fished and been lucky enough to fish in Africa, the US. Wow. Not always specifically fishing, but doing fishing while I'm in a country, maybe traveling with work or whatever. But Thailand was very memorable last year. You've seen the videos. I mean,
some of those Siamese carp are amazing, aren't they?
Trip of a lifetime.
Yeah, it's on my bucket list.
My wife Rachel got in on the act, even though she's not a keen angler. She managed to catch a few, but it should be on your bucket list. It's apart from getting there, it's surprisingly affordable, and anyone who's saved up to do something really special, fishing in Thailand is off the charts. But yeah, do you know what? I get as excited about going down to a local farm pond with one rod and a bit of bread as I do, seriously, on the right morning with the right weather. I can get as excited walking down that path as I can chucking out a huge lump of fish for an arapaima or Siamese.
Yeah, well, I've never had those experiences, so yeah, I'll have to take your word for that.
Lucky man, completely.
Yeah, definitely. So there we are. So you want to see some of the stuff?
I'd love to. Well, if you could show the viewers around as well as myself, that would be great.
Yeah, so this is my desk. This is where the magic happens. Not the magic of fishing, obviously, the magic of making floats. So I spend quite a lot of hours here. So I get home from work usually around 3:30. And I have a bit of food, and I'm down here then until about 8 o'clock in the evening, sometimes just trying to keep up with orders, keep the eBay listings stocked up. So so we've got sarkanda reed here. So we've got different thicknesses of the sarkanda reed, which is what I use to make lots of floats. I love this material. I didn't even know this material existed until about a year ago. But it's really lovely to work with. Cut it in sections. You can make straight wagglers with it. You can make bodied wagglers, stick floats. It's a really, really versatile material. So that's good to use. I've recently discovered, I've not actually used it that much. I recently discovered, this is peacock quill.
Oh, I love peacock.
So really long, straight peacock quills.
Very
and
buoyant.
They make floats like these. So you can see there's a couple of peacock quills. These are experimental floats. I've just recently used one of these on a video that we've just filmed together. Ali and I filmed together with an old rod, which will be coming out soon. So this is an experimental float that I've used. I haven't used this one yet. This one is a 6BB float, so it's quite a heavy float, good for chucking out quite a long way. And a nice bright tip on the top.
Nice river float, with the insert on the left.
Yeah. So lots of different things you can do with them. What else have we got? We've got balsa. So we got balsa dowels, which I then turn down. I've got a little mini lathe that we use, and I make things like this, which is my famous tench floats.
They look awesome for lift bite fishing.
Perfect for lift bite fishing.
I'll need to get my hands on one of those. Hint, hint.
Hint, hint. Well, they're available on eBay. So when I've kind of in the process of making the floats, they all get hung up. So these are all ready. They've all just had their top coat of varnish. They're all drying. The top coat of varnish takes probably about 2 weeks to dry properly. I use a yacht varnish. There are other varnishes available.
Is this the varnish here, or is
Yeah, so I keep them in these glass jars because it's easier than trying to take lids off tins. So I've got a water-based varnish here, which I use for the base coats, and then the top coat is the yacht varnish, which is this one here. So when I put a whipping on, so when I've done
the Incredible Hulk?
Yeah,
Getting in on the act.
getting in on the act. So once I've done the whipping, I seal that off then with the water-based varnish, and that kind of locks it in and bonds it all together, and that holds it there. So if I'm doing the other end of the float while it's in my hand and I'm manoeuvring it, it doesn't take all the thread off, all the hard work that I've done. So yeah, so that's a little
The
straight
finish
waggler.
really is professional. I know
Thank
you like to push yourself as an amateur, but
Yeah,
you know, having seen a lot of floats in my lifetime, right?
I'm an enthusiastic amateur. And then up here, if we can pan round behind, so this is a selection of floats that have been made and will eventually end up on eBay. A couple of them are for customer orders specifically. Lots of different materials. So again, we've got balsa wood, we've got sarkanda reed, we've got goose quill. These are quite interesting. These are a relatively new design. They are insert wagglers, but the insert is removable.
Oh wow!
So you can put an isotope, glow in the dark isotope in
I
there.
saw those on eBay. Yeah,
Yeah,
which
so,
is again something that I write about in the book, is night fishing with
Yeah.
an isotope.
yeah. So you can stick the isotope end in there. In fact, here is one, just here. This has got the isotope
That's
in it
really
there.
nice.
So yeah, I don't know if people have seen these before, but there's two chemicals inside in a glass vial, and you snap it and shake it, and it glows in the dark.
And it really is kind of spooky if you've not
quite
seen
bright.
it before.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially on a dark fishing expedition.
That's right. Yeah, and they'll last probably, the larger ones will last 2 to 3 hours, I guess, maybe a bit more. And yeah, just sits into the insert there.
And you know what? It's a really forgotten art, night fishing with a float.
Yeah.
Everyone now would go straight for the bite alarms, and I understand why. You know, you can have a sleep, and you've got really good sensitivity now. But to fish at night with a float is a special experience in itself. Yeah. I love the other tackle you've got in here as well. Some retro or even antique
vintage
stuff.
Yeah.
Vintage.
So, got my JW Youngs. I'm very proud of that. That's my little JW Youngs reel there.
Yeah, I've been fishing with a centre pin a bit recently, and some nice old fixed spools here as well.
Yeah, a bit of a collection.
Bit of 80s, would you say?
Yeah, this one and this one were my reels as a kid.
Shakespeare.
Yeah, classic. Argos specials.
Oh, and the Abu close face. They were big on the Trent, along with a few other makers.
Yeah.
Lovely stuff. And I see you've also got some non-fishing tackle. How dare it take up space in here, but this is presumably another hobby. I'm
a bit of a tinkerer, yeah. I like to just tinker with stuff, electronic cars and boats, all remote control boats and cars, and yeah, I'm a model maker and a
bit of railway.
Yeah. Don't look at that too deeply. You'll have railway enthusiasts screaming at the screen.
Okay, we'll keep that out. Brilliant.
Yeah,
I love this tub up here, which is just.
They're all of my
brilliant.
They're all of my rejects.
Are they?
So you're welcome to rummage through that and take anything you want from that pot.
They look pretty good to me.
Yeah, should we take them down to have a look?
Yeah.
They are literally my rejects. So there's loads of different styles, floats that I've experimented with. So
like
there's
a little Avon.
Yeah, it's pike floats in there. So there might be something wrong with it. So the varnish didn't quite sit right, or there might be a little blemish or a blip on it, so yeah, I just wasn't completely satisfied with the finish.
Again, to the naked eye, they look pretty damn good.
You can have that one.
Okay, I'll take this.
Sold, yeah.
I'll tell you what, how about we do a little giveaway to our viewers, or my viewers in this instance.
Yeah,
but
definitely.
Do you think you could donate?
I can't do them from the
floats?
rejects box though, but I think we can sort something out. I'll have something over here we can give away. How many do you want to give away?
Maybe 10.
10?
Is that being cheeky?
Ooh. I'm just thinking of my profit margin.
Just think of your subscriber numbers.
Oh, Well, here we are. Look, there's 6 there.
That sounds fair. They look lovely as well.
Yeah.
Insert wagglers. I'm just thinking, you know, if people watching this are like, wow,
Let's put them on the bench.
I would love to get
Have a look.
my hands on something like this.
We put them right next to this handy book that I've seen. It's a wonderful
That's
book.
a nice book.
If you haven't read it, it's a right good read. So there we are. So there's 6. So we've got 4 of them are yellow tops. Let's put them in the right order. 1 orange top and 1 red top. They're all around 4BB. So it'd be a 4BB and a number 4, 4BB and a number 6.
So what I'm proposing to celebrate this YouTube union is, if the viewers want to leave a nice comment about what they've seen, I'll do a prize draw, random selection, and we'll pick 6 people who've commented and get them a float sent in the post. And seeing as you've been so generous in donating them, perhaps I can do the postage and packing and
Whatever, yeah.
worry
that sounds
about
good.
that.
Well, I've got some padded envelopes, so I'll give you 6 padded envelopes. How about that?
Oh, that's unbelievably generous, and
There we
I'm
are.
sure the viewers will agree. So you heard it here, folks. If you leave us a nice comment on this video, 6 of you could land one of these unique handmade floats.
Cool.
Oh, so Andy, what a generous gift. Really appreciate that, and I kind of pressured you into it a little bit.
No trouble at all.
6 is exceptional, and just to think that 6 of you will land yourself one of these floats, I'm chuffed to bits with that. What about for those who are unlucky, don't get picked? How can they get their hands on something like that?
Well, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can watch my channels. You can learn how to make your own and make your own floats. So that would be the first option.
Might take me a little while till they're that good. But
Honestly, with a little bit of practice, you'll be there. It's not as difficult as it looks. I shouldn't really be saying that because I'm doing myself out of, yeah. In fact, my kids
There's
said
no
to
risk
me,
of that.
why are you showing people how to make your floats? Isn't that the worst business model ever?
Great
And I
point.
kind of agree, but that's, you know, I want to show people that it can be done. You can do it yourself. The other way of getting hold of my floats, obviously, is nipping over to eBay and picking up a set on eBay. I'm kind of constantly restocking and bringing out new floats and new designs and new patterns and new whipping color threads and things like that. So yeah, it's always worth to keep dipping in and out of the old eBay site and just see what's there. You never know what takes your fancy.
Yeah, and
So-
all I can say is I've used them now. You'll see them in at least 1 or 2 videos, if not more, this spring and summer. And although I've got time for the modern stuff as well, there's something special about catching a fish and seeing that handmade float dance around over the fish as it does its best to get away. And you know, it was magical for me. So
Good.
really thanks again for not only sending me the floats but having me here and you know, having the chat. So
You're
can't
welcome.
wait to take those away. And I do say to anyone watching, go and check out Black Bottom Floats, the channel. I found it really entertaining and instructional. And yeah, give it a subscribe, give the videos a like. You know, that's what we need to make this worthwhile. Not in any business sense,
No.
just to keep us going.
Yeah.
So thanks for watching, guys, and you'll see me again soon, probably on the bank. Cheers.